Politicians are lying to us about Bitcoin and its energy use. It's got nothing to do with national security risks, environmental risks, or financial stability. At the end of the day, it just has to do with control. We're going to take a look at an interesting article that was written by Elizabeth Warren, and we are actually going to debunk each of these points. So here we go. Let's dive right into it. Warren calls on Treasury to use every tool to rein in crypto market. Make no mistake, the only thing that she is worried about, and not just her, but any politician, they are only worried about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the only one that they can't control. Okay? Anyways, let's continue. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a member of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, sent a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen calling on the Treasury Department and the Financial Stability Oversight Council, oh, that's right, to build a strong regulatory framework for the crypto market. And I mean, look, we've already seen these regulatory frameworks, they work so well. Anyways, let's continue, and we are going to show evidence of how wonderfully these frameworks really work. I'm deeply concerned by the volatility of the cryptocurrency market and the inadequate regulatory environment in which crypto scams, fraud, theft, and evasion continue to run rampant, and mom and pop investors' savings have evaporated. Oh my gosh, they care so much about mom and pop. That's why in the 2008 financial crisis, they bailed out mom and pop. Oh, wait, no. They bailed out the bankers. I'm sure that at some point they bailed out mom and pop. And anyways, I'm going to continue on. So here we go. Here we go. These are the points that we are worried about. Crypto poses national security risks. Criminals, rogue states, and other actors may use digital assets to hide transactions for nefarious purposes and to evade sanctions. Okay. Now let's see. Is that really what's happening? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. The biggest money laundering scandals in banking. So, HSBC fined $1.9 billion. Wachovia Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, Danske Bank, Bank of Credit and Commerce International, Commerce Bank, Westpac Bank, Goldman Sachs. Okay. So, I'm not really sure if we need to be looking at Bitcoin and shitcoins. I think that maybe they might want to focus on their own backyard before they try breaking something else or just simply not fixing something else. Because at the end of the day, clearly we can see that the current system is broken, which means I'm not really sure what national security risks that quote unquote Bitcoin and crypto pose that aren't already inherent and already there. Let's continue on, and we are going to take a look at the next point. Crypto mining exacerbates environmental risks. Okay, so here we've got an article out of Cointelegraph, Stranded No More. Bitcoin miners could help solve big oil's gas problem. Now, well, for those of us that are already, very much entrenched in Bitcoin and in the community, quote unquote, community and ecosystem, then hey, we are already aware of this. But if you're not, you may not know. And this article is from March 18th, 2022. So it's obviously, a little bit dated, but at the same time, still relevant. Okay, we're not going to dive into the whole article. I just want to pick out I think the pieces that are signal. So here we go. Contrary to popular belief, the report's findings suggest that Bitcoin mining only accounts for 0.08% of the world's carbon dioxide or CO2 production. Sam Tabor, Chief Security Officer of BitDigital, a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, told Cointelegraph the environmental impact of Bitcoin mining is massively exaggerated by traditional financial authorities, the IMF, etc., because they know they can divide a new counterculture movement by using fake environmental arguments. They're trying to gaslight us against each other. They gaslight the world with fake green arguments. And we've covered this in the past, the greenwashing of all of this nonsense. I'm sorry, but paying taxes does not fix the environment. Okay, these are just drummed up garbage arguments with garbage solutions. Okay? Like that's all this is. It's garbage in, garbage out. Anyways, they don't want to lose influence over the levers of power of a system that only works for the elite. Anyways, let's continue on. The third point that Senator Warren had was that crypto poses potential threats to financial stability. Now, I thought this one was particularly funny, okay? And the reason is because you know what? Let's just take a look. I didn't even bother looking up the economic crises before the year 2000, okay? So you guys can see my screen. We're not even going to go before the year 2000. We're just going to take a look at 2000 and on, okay? So keep in mind, okay? So she's talking about financial stability. Okay, and all of these cronies, right? All of these people, it doesn't matter. The right side, the left side, it makes no difference. Okay, you got to remember the businesses that lobby these people. These are the employers. It's the businesses that lobby the politicians. It does not matter. We as constituents do not matter. Okay. Anyways, take a look at the 2000s. Elizabeth Warren, she was there. Look at all of these problems. 1998 to 2002, the Argentine Great Depression. Then in the early 2000s, we had the dot-com bubble. Then we also had the mortgage crisis in 2008 to 2010, which also spun out and affected the whole entire world. And now take a look, right? So keep in mind, all of this is before Bitcoin. All of this is before Bitcoin. and they're sitting here saying we need a strong regulatory framework. You can't even keep your own backyard clean. This makes no sense. These people are perpetual LARPs. Okay, anyways. All right. Last point here. Here we go. The crypto market fundamentally lacks protection for consumers and investors. All right. So of course, you guys, I mean, for the people that have seen me on Simply Bitcoin, I'm going to go dig up a whole bunch of this stuff. And here we go. Here's 10 famous investment scams. All right. So this is great. Remember, right? We want to remember the crypto market fundamentally lacks protections for consumers and investors. So that would mean that our current system has these protections for consumers and investors. Now, let's take a look at these scams. All right, we've got Charles Ponzi, estimated loss of 20 million. That was a pyramid scheme. Bernard Ebbers or Bernie Ebbers from WorldCom. Yeah, so for those of us from Gen X and older, we remember WorldCom. That was a massive scam. $100 billion. And look at that. They overstated their cash flows. And those were financial statements that were reviewed. Interesting. That means that they were reviewed by gatekeepers. That means that they were reviewed possibly by some type of a committee that would determine if these numbers were truthful or not. So that tells me already that the processes they have in place, that the processes they had in place did not work. Everybody remembers Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, Stratford Oakmont. Okay, loss of 200 million. Market manipulation via pump and dump schemes. So look at that. That's the stock market. The very market they claim to have all of this amazing control over to make sure that investors, small-time investors like you and me, we don't get hurt. Well, interestingly enough, though, with Stratton Oakmont, it was a whole bunch of retail investors that got totally ripped, completely wrecked. Anyways, none of those safeguards worked, by the way, supposed safeguards. Okay, here we go. Here's another public fraud. Bre-X Minerals. That's right. These people pretended to have gold and they had no gold. They falsified sample findings. Now, gold's been around since the beginning of time. And look, right? All of the checks and levers made no difference. These people were able to fake that they had gold and they were able to pump their bags until a whole bunch of mom and pops lost their shirts. Anyways, okay. Let's continue on. And of course, the gold was, for a lot of the Canadian and US investors, I mean, it was completely foreign to them. I mean, nobody even really knew if they had the gold. I remember seeing the videos of them showing pallets of gold, but you had no idea what that was. Anyways, all right, let's continue. Sam Israel III, Bayou Hedge Fund Group, lost $350 million. Look at that. Guaranteed unrealistic returns. Wow, was able to get away with that. A hedge fund group. Joseph Naccio, Quest Communications. Wow, look at that. Inflated revenues and insider trading. Oh my gosh. The exact type of behavior that supposedly there is gatekeeping for. How did that get by? How did that slide? Okay, Barry Minkow from ZZZZ Best Inc. Oh, look at this. Lost an estimated $100 million. Pyramid scheme. What a shock. It never seemed to stop the pyramid schemes. And what's interesting is that every single one of our corporations, our legitimate corporations, are all in the shape of a pyramid as well. But I digress. Anyways, all right. So here we go. Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling from Enron. That's right. That was the energy fraud. And look at that. They were able to also falsify financial results. Oh my gosh, what a shock. And then, of course, one of the most famous scams in most recent history, Bernie Madoff, who lost an estimated 65 billion, and that was another pyramid scheme. So, when I read statements like the crypto market fundamentally lacks protections for consumers and investors, I have one question. What have you done until now? And why haven't you been able to stop what is happening without Bitcoin and shitcoins? Why is it now all of a sudden so important to get so involved in Bitcoin and shitcoins? And obviously I'm going to answer, it's rhetorical questions. I'm going to answer my own questions. But the reality is that it all has to do with controls. That's all it is. It's the levers of control. I've said this in the past. We say this all the time. The money printing is their tool. This is what continues to fund all of the bullshit that we get stuck paying for, whether we want to, whether we agree or not. So make no mistake, they don't care about the environment. They don't care about you and me. They care about their control.